One sunny morning, my parents were looking for me everywhere. They couldn't find me, and they were starting to freak out because I was only 5 years old at the time. They searched all through the house and in my room and in the living room, kitchen, everywhere, and they still couldn't find me. Finally, they decided we better check outside. So, as they went to the barn and went outside, there I was in my footy pajamas with my messy hair on top of my horse Splash with just a piece of twine. That just started my love for horses, and it's only grown since then. I've grown up on a ranch where we all ride and train and own our own horses. I have 21 cousins who just adore horses as much as I do, and we all ride all the time together. I was in 4-H for about 12 years of my life, and I just enjoyed every bit of it. The leaders taught me about safety. They taught me about the different riding techniques. They taught us all about horses. Everything that I need to know, I got from my parents and from my 4-H leaders. I'm so thankful that I was able to do that because now I'm a leader of my own. I have my own club, and I'm able to teach those kids what I learned. I also gave riding lessons in high school, which was a really, really good experience of helping those kids know the safety, the different techniques of those horses. So you guys are probably wondering, why do I need to know about horses? I feel like there's a lot of reasons. First of all, horses can be really therapeutic and help you get through a lot of things. I had a friend who, her parents were going through a rough divorce, and she just was having a really rough time in life. And I would invite her over to come and ride with me and come and just kind of be out on our own for a while. And that really helped her. I know that whenever I was going through a rough time, I really enjoyed when people would say, let's go ride, because I felt like that really helped me, because it's just you and your horse and your friend. If you want to, you can even go off by yourself. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about why horses can be your best friends. I'm also going to talk to you guys about the different type of tack that's used. And then I'm also going to talk to you about the basics of riding the horse, which can be difficult for some people, but I'm not even going to touch many of the points, of course. I don't have time, but I can touch on a few of them. Let's start out with kind of the basics of why people are afraid of horses, kind of why they can be your best friends and why you shouldn't be afraid of them. First of all, horses do have a mind of their own, and so you have to remember that. You have to give them respect just like they need to give you respect. The horses can be trained differently. They can be taught different things, and so you have to be careful with those. It just depends on your level of riding. I know that growing up, I had different horses all the time because my dad wanted my level of riding to be changing all of the time. There are different types of tack used. That's the second point I'm going to touch on. And there's an English saddle, there's a Western saddle, which is what you see on my horse right now. She has a Western saddle on. And so that's what I normally ride. I've rode English a few times. The Western saddle is the one with the big wells and the big saddle horn. That's more for like cattle and that sort of stuff. You need to make sure that the stirrups fit your length of feet. So this is my saddle, so those about fit my feet correctly. And then there's different types of bridles. The first that we start them out in is an O-ring. We start them out in something like this. It's really non-severe. We just kind of get their heads moving with that. And then my mare is about 6 years old, and so she has a little bit more of a severe bit, a little bit straight bit with a straight bar and the chin strap in the back. Those are some different types of bridles. Now I'm going to talk to you about kind of the basics of the apparel of what you're supposed to wear. First of all, the most important things is your cowboy boots. Those are important because your feet can slip out of those stirrups in a quick hurry if you need to. If you have tennis shoes or something like that on, they're not going to be able to slip out of those stirrups and you could get hung up and get hurt. Next is the cowboy hat. That's kind of optional. I like it. It helps keep the sun off of your neck and your back and your face while riding. Next is a long sleeve shirt. That's important. And then long pants are very important. You don't want to get saddle sores, or if you were to get hung up in a tree or something like that, the long sleeves and the long pants can protect your skin. Okay, then third point that I'm going to touch on is the basics of riding. There's many different ways you can cue these horses. We teach them that the bridle is the first, so you pull on that bridle and it kind of teaches them that when they feel that pressure, they need to stop or they need to turn whichever way it is pulling. The next is the feet. So if you're pushing with your left foot, they need to be moving right. And then it's your seat, so your butt. If you roll that butt down into that saddle, It helps those horses know that they need to stop. If you were to come a little bit forward and get in the forward stance, that means that they need to go. So that's kind of how we teach our horses. So this mare knows those different types of the different techniques that we use. Growing up, I had many different horses. My dad would start me out on a horse that I would just absolutely love, and as soon as I would start doing good on him, he would give it to my sister so that I could improve on my riding and that I could constantly be learning new things on these horses. Just like we were talking about the cowboy boots, we need to be careful because my cousin actually got hung up a few years ago, and luckily he had cowboy boots on and his foot just slipped out of the stirrup, but it can be very dangerous if you're not careful. Some horses and some people just don't click. I had a few horses that I couldn't click with. I couldn't connect with. I couldn't get them to do what they wanted to do, what I wanted them to do, and I just couldn't get them to move. So that is a true thing when people say I just didn't connect with that horse. Horses can be very sweet and very comforting, but you have to give them their respect as well. You have to respect them just like they respect you. I remember when I was younger, my sister and I could just go ride our horses if we had a bad day, and that really helped us be able to just get those emotions out and be able to just connect with those horses and connect with what we have. If you do not know all the safeties of riding a horse, there's a few basic ones that I'd like to touch on. First is you need to stay about 5 to 10 feet away from the horse. That's really important until they see you, and then you're okay getting closer. The next thing that's really important is when you're walking up to the horse, make sure you're talking to them and touch them on the shoulder. Don't walk up and slap them on the butt, or of course they're going to reach up and kick you. So you need to be careful with those different things. Hopefully you guys have learned a few things about horses, and hopefully your passion for horses has grown a little bit. I know that riding horses isn't for everyone, but there is something that we can all learn from everything that we hear and that we can obtain. Today I've spoke to you guys about why horses can be great best friends. I've also spoke to you guys about the different types of tack that we use on horses and the different ages of horses that need that type of tack. And then I've also talked to you about the basic of riding the horses. Just remember, if you're ever feeling down or if you're ever needing help with getting through a problem or coping with something in life, try the therapeutic riding horses. That really seems to help a lot of people. And it's just beginning to be a growing thing in our nation. Also, when you guys decide to buy a horse, because after this speech you will, and how can you not? She's adorable. Just remember, if you lose your kids, they're probably out riding their horse in their footed pajamas with their messy hair. Thanks for watching.